Hello, this is Dr. Mode, and today we are going to start the last section in the Energy Sources chapter. It's called Environmental Impacts. Our scripture verse for today comes from 1 Peter chapter 4, verse 10. It says, "As each has received a gift, use it to serve one another as good stewards of God's varied grace." So I chose this today because this talks about each of us having different gifts, and these gifts can be applied for the good of humanity, and when applied rightly, they are powerful. So here's our progress so far in Chapter 8. You can see that we've finished the first 3 sections. We have 2 days we're going to spend on Section 4, and then Friday will be our chapter test. This section is called Environmental Impacts, and it starts with a section on population and carrying capacity. So the human population has grown from about 1 billion to about 8 billion people in the last 200 years. Carrying capacity is the largest number of individuals that the environment can support. So this is really important here because the author of your book is making an analogy between people and animals. Basically, they think that people and animals are the same thing. So for example, if you have a 1-acre field that's fenced off and you put rabbits in there, the rabbits are going to multiply up to a certain population that the grass on that 1 acre can support. Okay? Well, the thing is rabbits and people are different. Okay? Rabbits cannot produce their own food. They have to rely on what the ground can grow in terms of the grass. But people can produce their own food. They can choose to use the land in different ways. So again, carrying capacity is something that really applies to just animals, not people. But when you have a worldview that views people as animals, then you would apply carrying capacity to animals or to people as well. And that's actually a pretty dangerous philosophy. So in the Bible, Genesis chapter 1, verses 28, the first thing that we're commanded is to be fruitful and multiply and to fill the earth and subdue it. So the thing is how are we doing this? Well, the population is growing, and that's a good thing. And if you view people as animals, then you would be afraid of people getting to the point where they're starving. Well, if you look at the graph on the right here, you can see that the red line shows the population increase since 1960. So this is the past 50 years on this graph. And it also shows the total food production. So what you can see here is that the amount of food produced is greatly outpacing our population growth. So again, people are not animals. The demand for certain natural materials affects how much land we need for that material's production. So for example, if we use paper products, that's going to require trees. That's going to require wood. So we use land for agricultural use, for forests, for urban development, waste management, and other things. So everything you eat requires a certain amount of land to produce. Demand for more production results in genetically modified seeds or organisms, fertilizers, herbicides, pesticides, anything to increase the yield of crops. So, can sustainable organic methods meet our needs? So we used forests. 25% of the Earth's surface is covered in forest, and many of the products we use come from trees. Every year, about 36,000 square miles is deforested. So forests are storage they store carbon dioxide and they produce the oxygen that we breathe. So one way we use land is for our urban areas, and for the first time in history, more people live in urban areas than in rural areas. So this land previously was used for agricultural use, or it was a forest or a natural area. And urban lands, they don't produce natural resources like the rural lands do. So every product that we use, every choice that we make in terms of our transportation choices and our consumption choices results in waste. And everything you throw away, flush down the toilet, or recycle it has to end up somewhere. So it's very important that thoughtful consideration is put into these waste streams that we can improve natural resource conservation.